Yeah, from Trimless or Nathan. I'm going to go to Trimless first, and then I'll speak to Nathan as well. What you saying, Trimless?
Yeah, I'm chilling, man. Enjoying the show and enjoying the show. Obviously,
happy to be here. Just happy to be here.
Chilling, you know,
love it, brother. Love it.
But, no, I'll be honest. Like, it's the Premier League, man. It was a moment of sloppiness from Sanchez, and it was a moment of brilliance from Neto. For me, Neto starts on that right wing, and yeah, Chelsea cook even more. I gotta say, cause Madueke has not been it since the Wolves game. I don't know why he. Obviously, he's not. I'm not the manager in it, but my mic dropped. But I wouldn't keep playing him. Neto's always been that guy on the right. When I used to watch him at Wolves. I'll be real. I've always been a fan of Neto. On the left, obviously, he tries to do the questing direct, but he can be such a threat on the right. So for me, I don't know when Sancho is back, but yeah, I saw the comment. I'd like to see Sancho on the left and then Neto on the right. But yeah, it was a good game, man. Second half, you know, we started to, I think, like get back into the game more in terms of a controlling point, but it was still a bit pragmatic. Mourinho came on, he was a bit tidy, but again, in that final third, he doesn't know what to do. So it's like, yo, come on, risk it with Waneri. The last 10 minutes, Ødegaard was all right. Like, he's just come up, but you could see Ødegaard was tired that last 10 minutes. I'm Arteta, bro, just play the youth, bro. Free the guy, bro, please. Ødegaard was tired. He was giving the ball away a couple of times. That could have led to Chelsea winning the game. It's like, I hear it, he's the captain and that, but bro, like, the guy's flagging. Martinelli, scumbag the little goal. I'll take it, but for me, the left wing is still an issue. Our left side is so poor. I'm so like irritated by our left side. And if Saka gets locked up in the game like he did today, I'm not believing in that left side to carry any weight. And the midfield, we don't play for the midfield because our midfielders they're playmakers in terms of party, but we don't do anything for the midfield. Even when Ødegaard gets the ball, let's be real, he's looking out wide. Obviously, we got that goal, but that's because Chelsea took that risk. That back post was crazy. He's done his thing, cool. But yeah, man, as a neutral, it must have been a good game. But for me, Arteta is starting to stress me out now, man. And it's getting to that point now where, like, when's the last time I see my team win, bro? Like, come on, man, you got to try something different.
Was that zero wins in 5? Is it 0 wins in 5 now in the league? Is it in the league?
5, bro. I'm saying it's getting a bit irritating now, man. Can't bypass this. Before, when it was the Bournemouth thing, 10 men, cool, 1 game. Now I'm thinking, yeah, man.
Sorry, let me just say something before I go, Terry, because I've got my dinner ready now, yeah? Bro, listen, I'm annoyed by this result, 110%. But when you look at where we are right now in comparison to last season, bro, we're going into another break. 3rd now, not 4th. 3rd. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know the gap. I heard what you were saying, Terry. You lot are what, 15th? Was it 13th right now?
We're 13th and just 4 points off you. Yeah.
Only 4 points. So it is still tight, innit? I'm not looking at it and getting gassed, but it is still an improvement. You know what I mean? I would have liked 7 points in this little running that we had, but we've got some easier games coming up. We've got Everton, we've got Leicester straight after the break. You know, we've got Spurs away. So we should hopefully be getting more W's than draws in it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, have a good evening anyway, man.
Yeah, no worries, Don. No, I hear you on that. And Nathan, when it comes to Arsenal, I mean, are you, like Trimless, are you getting frustrated now at Arteta and at your team at the lack of wins? Although there's some good moments and you're not like sitting in relegation or anything crazy, but are you starting to lose that patience with him as a manager?
Yeah, I'm losing my patience with him and the whole club, to be honest with you, man. Since the international break, it's been piss poor. You know, we've only picked up 1 win against Preston in that period of time. You know, the biggest gripe with Arteta over this period of time has been his inability to find solutions. I mean, it's all well and good, you know, having success when you've got your best 11 and everybody there available to you, but where you earn your money is when you've got issues. I mean, that's what separates, you know, Sir Alex from, you know, a lot of other managers, was how his ability to, you know, to deal with problems, injuries. You know, you'd had the likes of mediocre players looking, Phil Jones and O'Shea's, who weren't well beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but when they came in that United squad, they looked, as part of the unit, they looked well oiled. They looked like they fit in. And since this Ødegaard injury, and obviously we've got some more injuries to our back line, there hasn't been any problem solving altogether. And that's been my biggest gripe with him. Obviously, for us to not pick up any points in 4 games is inexcusable. And I know there's some people, I know the league is basically almost written off, but I don't think we're in a top 4 battle at the minute, because I always believe a top 4 battle is usually a battle of the inconsistent. If you look at the last couple seasons, the people that are vying for that 4th spot are always tend to be teams that will drop points. We've seen it even over this weekend. The likes of Villa, Spurs, not picking up the results. So we've still got
Forest.
time to kind of distance ourselves away and actually firmly establish ourselves in as third place. But at the minute, it's looking poor. And even on today's game, I didn't really think today's game was a great game. I didn't think there was much quality from both sides. I think there were players that showed bits of quality, but overall, I don't think any team really created chance after chance. There wasn't really sustained pressure. It was a game of moments. We had they had theirs with Neto cutting in and Martinelli not tracking back, and they had it with Cole allowing us to play, allowing Odegaard to play that ball and keeping the line, keeping everybody on. So, the biggest disappointment for me was not taking those moments. I think Trossard, once again, a player that's been frustrating ever since Odegaard's been out, not delivering. Martinelli, I'm tired.
The problem, Nathan, is what do you do? Because Martinelli sucks even more. Like despite the goal he got today, he's just been horrendous. And where do you start Trossard? Where do you start Martinelli? It's literally hot and cold. You might get the best of them. You might get the worst of them. It's a pretty annoying thing. And the only other guy we can play there is freaking Sterling, who's probably worse than both. Like that's the annoying thing.
Well, to be fair, my biggest gripe is we haven't tried Sterling on the left at all. And I've always said, if we're going to try Sterling, at least try him on the left, because I think he's very one-dimensional when you play him on the right. There's only one way he can go, right? He becomes a one in terms of he's only going to go down the byline. He's not really someone that's going to cut in and deliver off his left foot. So he becomes very, very predictable. Where when he plays on the left, he becomes a two-way winger. He's more likely to go down the outside as well as cutting the inside. So there's obviously today he's tied because he's on loan from Chelsea, but just in general, there hasn't. I spoke about this on the last show. There's a hierarchy involved when Arteta comes to choosing players, and he feels like, if I don't choose Martinelli, it has to be Trossard because those are two players that are directly owned by the club. Whereas this, even against in the Bournemouth game, he took off Sterling when Sterling should never come off. You need pace when you're down to 10 men for transitions. So there's little things that you look at with the manager and it doesn't really make any sense. And even today, when we look at Declan Rice, I think the fan base would be scared to have conversations about Declan Rice. But let's be honest, today he didn't offer us anything. And when Moreno came on, and that's somebody who I've been critical of, he actually
Rice was playing with a broken toe.
Can I throw something out there as an outsider, right? The lack of trophies in the last couple of seasons is also an issue right now, though. And what I mean by that is sometimes, and I'm just going by when my team was winning trophies, you would have seasons where we won the Premier League the year before, and you'd have a season where a player like Rice is just kind of off it a little bit. And, you'll have an attacker like Martinelli who's just not quite on it. And maybe you do have a bad signing. We all sign bad players, even in our club's pomp. But you could almost stomach it because you'd won other things. I feel like looking and listening to Arsenal fans talk, there is this element of, because there's been no trophy since the FA Cup, although the last 2 years were really good overall, you were very consistent, you were in title races, because of the lack of silverware, now that things have gone a little bit wrong at the beginning of this season, when I say a little bit wrong, you're still right up by the top. I think there's no way you finish outside of Champions League position still. That's my honest opinion. But because of the lack of trophies, the level of frustration is a lot higher, where what you're going through this season is kind of normal. Does that make sense? Most teams that have been really good can have these little dips, and whether you keep Arteta or bring somebody new in, I don't think it's going to be long until you start winning regularly again. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you guys shouldn't criticize. I'm not saying you should just suck it up. I just find it quite an interesting from the outside in, where if last season you'd have won the FA Cup and came second, would there be more patience in this bad period? Maybe, but I understand your desire to win trophies. So I'm not writing off what you're saying. I just find it really intriguing from the outside.
You see with the Rice thing, though, Terry, just to touch on the Rice thing, I think there's also a mismanagement. When you look at, he went to the Euros, he played every game almost for Arsenal, played almost every game in the Euros, or every game in the Euros. He's somebody who's been burnt out, right? He's somebody who hasn't had a rest, who we've thrown in since game week 1, right? And he hasn't looked the same player as last season. He looked quite visibly, like towards the end of the Euros, he didn't look like the same player. And coming into this season, you can see that he's not the same player. And that again goes down to management, whether squad management, you know, whether you want to talk about that in regards to recruitment, but as well, but that's a position we're actually quite stacked in. So I think that plays a part as well, and that's where Arteta deserves criticism, because he's a player that needs to be taken out of the limelight. And when he did, I felt today we looked a lot better. We progressed the ball a lot more better. We were a lot more incisive.
The issue, Nathan, is that we didn't have
Moreno
Moreno in the beginning, right, to do that, because I think the whole point of him getting Moreno, if Partey stayed fit, was to be able to rotate between the pivot. And given Moreno got injured before he even kicked the ball, I think that put a dent on Arteta's thing to kind of rotate, because I don't think he would want to play Jorginho and Partey in the middle, because that's just too defensive. Both can play the ball, but you need a runner. You need someone who can go back and front. I think Moreno and Rice is a good combination to swap, and then maybe even Moreno and Rice can start and Partey can be on the bench sometimes to rest him. But the fact that he got injured early is an issue. Like one major thing I have with like criticism of Arteta is just, you said it as well, like I think he has like certain players he has in his mind and he doesn't touch them no matter what. Like Havertz is a great example. I don't think he had a good game today. He's had a couple of stinkers, and for whatever reason he keeps him on the pitch for so long, and it's obvious why. The only reason he keeps him that long is to win the aerial balls. But most of these times we win the aerial balls, it doesn't actually lead to anything. Like he wins the header, but the opponents get the ball and they counter anyways. What's the point of you keeping someone there? And as much as Jesus has been horrendous, and I didn't want him to come off on the right because I don't think he's a winger no matter what people say. He's still a striker no matter how bad he's been. I would still have wanted him to do that kind of rotation. If you see Havertz playing bad, maybe take him off, bring in Jesus over there, but don't keep players no matter how bad they've been playing, if just because you want to win the aerial balls. I think he could have done things a lot better. These last few weeks has definitely been on him. Can he change it? He can. One thinks that it's absolutely over 100%.
I think what's really interesting is that I don't think today was like a lot of the other games. I think today was a different type of football match. The problem is, again, it's coupled on the end of some really bad performances, and it doesn't make you feel any better. And I've been there as a Man United fan, where you sort of like, you could, if you look at today's game in isolation, you've been asleep for the past 3 months and you wake up and watch today's game, you'd be like, do you know what? I know my team's much better than this. We go again next week. So I totally get the frustration that you're all going through. I want to go through some of the super chats. So they're going to mixture of teams here. You've spent 1 billion. I think that's about saying you should be the favourites. I get you. I thought Chelsea were favourites during the week, but when I saw the full strength 11 from Arsenal, I changed my mind. The only reason I called Ches out as a joke is Ches will never have a bad word said against Chelsea and always bigs up every player in the group chat. So I'm just saying, for him to talk the way he does in the group chat and then to not say they were the favourites is crazy. And that's why Andrew nodded his head, because he's in the group chat with us.
I don't. I just watch and stay out of it. I don't even bother.
I know you do. That's why when he said it, I laughed. That's why he said it. If you said it, Andrew, I believe you. But Ches, how can a team who has spent 1.4 billion not be the favourites in any game? You should be favourites against City too. 1.4 billion, for Christ's sakes.
Oh, those poor for City, yeah.
Remember what you spent.
Yeah.
Can you ask Igal this? I want to see if he's a man or not. Do you still think Liverpool isn't in the race? He answered this actually yesterday, and he came on and said he was wrong, to be fair. I know he's not here now, but he answered that question already. Now that Odegaard is back, bye-bye Wanieri. You had so many chances to prove yourself the last few weeks, just not good enough. Obviously, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Nick here says, I think a draw was a fair result, but teams defensively were respectable. Not many saves from either keeper. Shout out Kukurea and Neto too.